Okay, so here we are. Welcome to the Essential Guide of Kidney Stone Prevention for Fluids. So thrilled you're here. I have a little bit of a cough, so forgive me. Okay, so your doctor has given you a prescription that says you need to drink more water, okay? You need to drink more water, and tomorrow, Sally, when you wake up, you need to drink a gallon of water. How is Sally going to drink a gallon of water? That's never going to happen. If Sally's only been drinking a glass of water each day, there's no way Sally can drink a gallon of water tomorrow. And so what happens is, lots of times you leave your doctor's office and you're very frustrated and you're overwhelmed, and it's very difficult to start a lifestyle change when you feel that way, okay? So what do I tell my patients? How do you get more water in? You slowly do it, okay? You do this slowly. So if Sally is only drinking a glass of water a day, I would tell her, do that for the first week, okay? We're not going to change anything. We're just going to notice what we do every single day. Just get a good feel for what's going on. Notice how much fluid you're taking in. Forget about water, just all fluids. See what types of fluids you're drinking. Notice how much water also you're taking. And then for that week, make a decision. Is this something I really want to commit to? Do I really want to stop making kidney stones? Because if I do, I really need to take this fluid thing seriously. So once they make that commitment, I teach them. When you're on your second week, add 1 glass that week per day. So then you're drinking 2 glasses a day. Third week, add a glass. Guess what? You're drinking 3 glasses a day now for that week. Fourth, you know what I'm going to say, add another glass, and now you have 4 glasses of water that you're drinking every day, okay? So that's how we slowly do it. 99% of you have to do it that way, okay? There's 1% of you that will say, okay, she's telling me I have to drink. Okay, I'm going to drink more. I'm going to drink 10 glasses of water starting tomorrow. That's 1% of you. Good. I'm making these percentages up. I have no scientific data to say that. But most of us, it takes a while, and we slowly have to do it. So whatever the case is, get it up, okay? And it's what's even more important than how much you're putting in is what's coming out of you. The guideline is, your goal is, you want to be urinating at least 2.5 liters a day. That's the goal. A 300-pound man is probably going to have to drink more to get 2.5 liters out of him. A 5'2", 110-pound woman won't probably have to drink as much to get 2.5 liters out of her. Okay? And it all depends on a lot of other things. Are you sweating a lot? Some people may say, okay, I'm drinking a lot, Jill, but I don't pee that much. And there's reasons for that. You're sweating too much because you exercise or you live in a really warm state, or you're eating so much salt that your rings don't fit and your pants don't fit because you're bloated, because your body is retaining the water. Your kidney is actually maintaining fluid balance, and so your body is holding on to that water because it wants to keep your blood sodium levels even. Okay, so kidneys are a really smart thing, by the way. So there's reasons why, but your goal is to urinate 2.5 liters out a day. That's the point. You slowly get there. You notice that if you sweat more than the average Joe, look, I live in Chicago. Maybe I sweat outside 2 months out of the year, as opposed to somebody who lives in New Mexico or North Carolina. They will sweat more than I do. Their occupation, they're a construction worker. There's many different factors. So we've got to understand what we're doing and what we need to do in order to urinate out at least 2.5 liters. That will minimize your stone risk, okay? We'll flush these extra crystals out so they don't have a chance to form stones, and that's your goal. You want to lower your urine supersaturation. And so when we lower our urine from being saturated with these types of crystals, we lower our kidney stone risk. So that's very important, okay? So you want to slowly get your fluid intake up so that you can increase your urinary output. So somebody's going to tell me You're thinking right now, I don't know, Jill. I don't know how much I pee out. How am I supposed to know this? This may seem out there. Sometimes I'm going to say some out there things. That's okay. You can go to a medical supply pharmacy or you can go to Amazon. I like using Amazon. They don't pay me anything. I just use them because it's convenient. And so you can order, if you're a woman, you can order a hat that you put under the toilet bowl lid so that you can collect your urine and put it in a big orange jug. Or if you're a man, you can pee directly into the jug. And then you can see on an average day, without showing off, without cheating, without, you're obviously pretty much home that day. If it's a Sunday, you're relaxing with the family. See about what you're putting in your body, and from that, based upon what you're eating and everything else, what's coming out. You may say, shoot, I'm noticing that I am drinking a lot, but I'm not peeing that much. Why is that? And that's because you're probably on a high salt diet, okay? So you can do that, and you can easily see and do it once in a while if you feel like, I think I'm getting off track, how much do I think I'm peeing? You do that once in a while. Wash out the hat if you're a woman. Wash out the jug, keep it in a closet, and you can keep track on that, okay? So I think that's a really easy way to see about how much time that, how much, you're urinating. So get a good feel for that. I can tell after doing this for many years how much, usually, when I'm going to the bathroom, I urinate about 250 cc's. So if I do that, so many times during the day, 10 times during the day, I'm okay. For you, it might be different depending upon what you got going on. Maybe that's a little too much information, but I'm here to help. So, and give you ways to think about this. I also know when I'm giving advice or when I'm laying down the law for kidney stone prevention, I want you to understand that I don't think any of this is easy. And I never want to seem glib. I know that these lifestyle changes are difficult. They're not easy. And that's why you're here listening to me. And that's why you spent your hard-earned money to learn how to do this. And so with that being said, I guess the only thing I can tell you, and I will repeat this, you have 2 buckets. You have those 2 buckets again. And finding a bathroom and going to the, and drinking a lot of fluids is, and not liking water but doing it anyway, that's really not fun. But again, this bucket up here where kidney stones and stents and lithotripsies and doctor's offices and all of it is just so not fun, not to mention the pain that you all know of. I mean, so again, in life, we've got to figure out, I really don't like drinking a lot of water. I really like eating crappy food. I get that. It's fun or it's not fun, in the case of the water. But you got to make your mind up because these stones, they come back. And you don't want them to. So the deal is here, we're trying to prevent them. So although I know that these things that I'm asking you to do, or maybe shedding some light on what you're supposed to do in order to decrease your stone risk, I understand that it's not easy, but you can only compare it to what's a heck of a lot harder, and that's kidney stones. Okay, stepping off the soapbox. Here we go. I want you to be willful. I want you to be deliberate. I want you to really think about drinking water and you're doing it. It's like, you've made a commitment and you're going to be willful and you're going to be deliberate. When I drink water, because I do a lot of talking throughout the day. So when I do get a chance to drink water, I just don't do a dainty sip because that's not going to do me anything. I really drink. I mean, I'm slurping off this straw, okay? One of the reasons I have a straw is because I think it's fun. But also because when I do drink, it gets it down faster. So I'm very deliberate. I want to clear that jar up, okay? I want that jar to be gone so I can fill it up again. So when I am going to drink, I may not, I have people say, oh, well, I sip all day. Well, did you fill up that glass one time? No. Sipping ain't going to do it. You need to drink, okay? Not sip, not like this. What is that? That's nothing. That'll hydrate an eyelash, okay? That's nothing. You need to drink water. You need to slurp it. Is it pretty? Is it precious? No. But that's what you have to do. You have to be deliberate and you have to be willful. And your goal is, I want to get rid of this jar so I can fill up another one. And then I'm going to pee, and I'm going to know I'm getting rid of these crystals, and I'm hydrated, and my super saturations will be lowered, okay? Which is the driving force of stone formation. You don't want your urine to be saturated with these crystals. Uric acid crystals, calcium oxalate crystals, calcium phosphate crystals. You don't want that, okay? So you want to be willful. I know that it's hard. Look, there's a lot of occupations. I'm a nurse. I am a nurse. So I know when I was working in the hospital, look, I maybe peed once a shift, and it's awful, but it's true because you don't have time. Surgeons, teachers, Jill, how am I going to leave my classroom? I got 22 kids. What am I going to do with them? I'm in a car all day, Jill. I'm traveling from one place to another. What am I supposed to do? You're going to have to find a bathroom. You're going to have to leave the classroom sometimes. I know this isn't perfect. I know you're saying, well, that ain't possible. You're going to have to make that possible. And over time, your bladder will adjust too, so you can hold your urine a little bit longer so it's not so critical, okay? And you're not like freaking out that you have to pee and you got to do it right now, so you'll have a little bit more control. But you are going to have to make some sacrifices. If you had cancer or if you had any other medical condition, why are we putting, this water thing like it's not a big deal, or I can't make time? If you had blood pressure, you'd make time to take the pill. I mean, you just would, or whatever other medical condition. Just because it's water doesn't mean it's this benign treatment plan. It's really important, guys. Your urine is saturated with stone-forming crystals, and so you don't want that anymore. So it's important. It's as important as if you had to take a medication for kidney stones, which some of you do, and you shouldn't be on it because you could be changing it with diet. Some of you. Okay. So I understand. It's not, I have worked with pilots, salespeople. I've worked with all these people over the 20 years of my career, and I know that it's not easy, and I know you're going to have to make a sacrifice. You are going to have to stop at a Starbucks. You're going to have to have your assistant drive the plane for a second so you can urinate. Whatever it is, I get it. But especially those who are on planes a lot, you're going to have to hydrate. I get that people who fly a lot, they're like, Jill, I'd hate those baby bathrooms. It's the one time in my life I'm glad I'm 5'2", believe me, because those bathrooms are for a doll. I don't know who fits in there, nobody. But you really get dehydrated on a plane, so it's important that you're drinking, okay? So again, you have to be willful. You have to make this a priority. It's part of your treatment plan so you do not make more stones. Let's talk about the tricks. What makes you happy? Seems like a silly question for fluids, right? This mason jar makes me really happy. I don't know why I like mason jars, but I do. It makes me happy. And so what is really important is that you find something that you like, okay? That's what's really important. You find something that you like and to use. So I know some patients, they have, it's ridiculous. They have a water bottle for every day. So they use a water bottle, they use it for every day. And, if they have their pink outfit, they get their pink water bottle. If they're doing sports, then they get their big, rugged, whatever bottle. Everybody has a water bottle to suit I do have people that are accessorizing with water bottles. The newest water bottle I've seen is a water bottle that when you go exercise, it's a water bottle. In the middle of the water bottle, you put your phone inside the water bottle, and the compartments of water, which you can see clearly, are water, but it's a separate compartment in the middle, so it looks like your phone is in your water bottle. And people take it to exercise because people are like, okay, Jill, I have to take my phone. That's enough I have to carry. Now you're telling me to carry a water bottle? Well, guess what? Now we don't have that excuse anymore because there's actually a water bottle that you can put your cell phone in and it stays dry. So there's a water bottle for everybody. Other tricks. I have patients that, they take a bunch of rubber bands. I have a little thing for my ponytail holder. Let me put this on here. They take a bunch of rubber bands, 5, 6, whatever it is for them. They put them all down here. They start their water bottle with this. And then in the beginning of the day, and as they go to refill their jar or water bottle or glass, they move the rubber band up so it signifies that they've already refilled once. And then, the 4 or 6 or 10 other rubber bands are down here. And each time they fill up, they can see how many times they have filled up. And so if you haven't filled up and you have all your rubber bands down here, it's a reminder right on your desk. Oh my God, look at this. There's nothing moved up yet. I got to start drinking. I got to be disciplined. I got to be willful. I've got to be deliberate. I want those rubber bands to go up. So that's a really easy way to keep track of how much you're drinking. Another way to make yourself more motivated to drink is to make your water, make it more fun. Make it tasty, It's like, I like putting mint, I like putting basil. People freeze watermelon. They get their they get their melon ball scooper thing. They make little balls from watermelon, cantaloupe, honeydew, whatever it is. And then they freeze it. And they use those as ice cubes for their water. I love that idea. Some people right now may be thinking, I don't have time. You have time to do that. You do. If that will make you happy and drink more water, you have time to do it. You have time to do it because you have time to go to the doctor's offices and the going in for the morphine shot, and you're having time to do, a lithotripsy. So let's take, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, we get the watermelon, we cut it in half, we get some Scoopy Boopies, and we put it in the freezer. We got that. That's an excuse. So we have to make time for the yucky stuff. Let's make a little bit of time for the good stuff. And don't think of it as a chore. You say to yourself, I'm going to have the best darn tasting water ever. I'm going to love drinking water. Change your attitude. Is it easy? Again, I know it's not easy. Do I sound like the tooth fairy right now to you? Yes, I know. But over time, you'll be grateful because you won't have to go to doctor's offices as much anymore. You won't have pain. You won't be overwhelmed and stressed, okay? So take a little bit of time to save a hell of a lot of time later on. That's my point. Okay, what else can we do? Sticky notes, okay? I use sticky notes. I got them all over. Look, sticky notes. I could pull 10 off over here. I got them. I put them all over the place. They're all over. I put them all over. Sometimes you could see my dog walk by. He has a sticky note on his butt. Whatever it takes. I'm very old-fashioned that way. They work for me. I like them. I always have great intentions. I'm like, I'm going to get my phone and I'm going to buy an app. And I hoard apps. I got lots of apps. And then I notice I don't have any memory anymore. And so what do? I look at my apps. I'm like, I never use that one. And I delete 30 of them and I get all my memory back from apps I never used. So apps don't work for me. Sticky notes do. Beautiful. Love them. Sticky. Easy. Pen, paper. They still work for me. If you like apps, and a lot of my patients love apps, then you should use an app. There's many and free. There's many free water, how to track my water apps. Go to the app store. There's tons of them. And I'm not going to tell you which ones to try because the reason lifestyle changes don't work is because you're being told to do stuff that may not work for you. So you've got to figure out what's going to work for me. Maybe I'm like that old girl Jill. Maybe it's going to be a sticky note. Maybe it's going to be an app. Maybe it's the rubber bands. Maybe it's going to be a flavor enhancer. What the heck is that? These are these little containers, sometimes a packet. And for people who are just like it, number one, or they're struggling to get more water into their body, they're tiny. You can put it in your purse, you can put it in your pocket, and you just put a few drips in your water, and then you got a flavored water. Boom, like magic. Squirt, squirt, boom, like magic. And so try those. There's millions of them, okay? Some of them have preservatives, and some people yell at me, Jill, why are you telling us to do things that have preservatives? First of all, it's such a little amount, I'm not going to be concerned about it because of this. The stone risk, the little amount of preservative you may be choosing to put a couple bips in your water is not outweighing the cons of getting a new kidney stone, for me, okay? It may be different from you. Then I suggest that you use the fruit, the natural things, but they're not as portable. So for those of you who have chronic kidney stones and you're looking for a portable answer to help your water taste better because you find water disgusting, flavor enhancers, to-go packets or to-go bottles, little tiny bottles, look for them. And there are ones that don't have preservatives. Find them for you if you'd like that. But I think that's a great way. Here's things I like, straws. I like them. I always say channel your inner child. Straws make the water go down faster for me. When I am drinking, I like to be deliberate. So I want to get a lot done. I am drinking water, like I said. I'm not sipping it, I'm drinking it. So I want to use the straw because it'll get down me faster. Because when I chug water, typically it goes all over my shirt. It dribbles down my chin. It's not cute, again. So I use a straw. It's also fun for me. I like the color. I'm somebody who likes a lot of color. So I definitely like different color straws. Sometimes I use a couple straws, whatever. So I like that. Also for people who are using lemons, and a lot of them to increase their citrate level, which I'll talk about in the calcium class. I like straws because then it will save your tooth enamel from the acidity of the lemons. So I like it for that too. Some people have lost tooth enamel because they're eating way too much lemon and drinking too much lemon juice in their fluids, and it's hurting their tooth enamel. So be careful of that. And again, I'll talk about lemonade and soon. So what I'm telling you is I'm asking you to be patient, but I'm also asking you to be persistent. So be patient with yourself and know this takes time, but I want you to be persistent and trudge forward because this is a huge factor in decreasing your stone risk. If you drink more water, you're going, and more fluids in general, you're going to lower your kidney stone risk because those crystals aren't sitting there hanging around waiting for each other, okay, to form stones. So you're always keeping hydrated. You're going to feel better. You're going to be less tired. Lots of times, you're going to have less food cravings. Why? You're thinking, what the heck does that mean, Jill? I'm going to have less food cravings. Lots of times, when we're thinking we're hungry, it's because we're dehydrated. And so our brain isn't very smart as far as signaling which is which. Lots of times, if you find yourself looking for something or craving a sweet or a salt or just feeling hungry, please drink a glass of water, see if you're hungry after that, okay? Lots of times you're dehydrated, so that's super important. Now let's talk about what you can drink. It's not just water. It's not just water. Oh, and before I say that, there's also these. I like these a lot. It doesn't have to be LaCroix. I say LaCroix. Some fancy people say LaCroix. It's probably LaCroix. I drink these. There's a lot of generic versions of these. Meaning bubble water. It's bubble flavored water. There's absolutely nothing in here. Okay? There's natural flavors and carbonation. And so sometimes I like a change from drinking regular water. So you can drink this. That's fine. And like I said, there's cheaper versions than what I'm drinking. That's fine. You can do that. Let's talk about, though, like I said, let's talk about what else you can drink. You've been told just to drink water. You've probably taken away a lot of other things thinking they're bad for stone risk. Well, they can be, but they also cannot be. So let's talk about that for a second. Water is not your only option, guys. You can safely incorporate other fluids into your repertoire, which is awesome. So sometimes I'm going to say, look, you're going to have to give me this back. This is something you're going to have to give me back. But typically, when you give me something, I'll always give you something, okay? So right now, if you give me drinking more water, I'm going to give you back more variety, okay? So here's your presents right now. So water is not your only option. Let's talk about lemonade. And let's talk about lemonade. You can safely add some lemonade into your diet. All of the things I'm about to tell you are going to increase your daily urinary output. So these are different beverages that are going to count to your daily urinary output. They count. Some of you have been told to drink lemonade. You have been told to drink lemonade because the doctor sees from your 24-hour urine collection report that your citrate is low. Citrate is a molecule that we care about in kidney stone prevention, and it is a natural stone inhibitor. What does that mean? That means, and I'm going to talk about it in more depth in calcium, but it means that your citrate is like a shield, and it surrounds it and envelops itself around calcium when you have too much calcium or excess calcium in your kidney. And if here's calcium and here's citrate going around it, it's like a little sweater, hugging, keeping calcium really happy and warm and sweet and lovey. And so what happens is the citrate keeps phosphate and oxalate from combining with calcium. So you don't form these calcium oxalate and calcium phosphate stones. But if you don't have enough citrate, and calcium's naked all by itself, oxalate and phosphate will find it, and they'll hook on to each other. They're very codependent without the citrate. And that's how you can start forming stones. So a lot of times you'll leave the doctor's office, and they will say, drink some lemonade. And so lemonade counts. Lemonade's important because it will increase your citrate level. But here's the thing. Lemonade has way too much sugar. And guess what else leads to kidney stones? Too much sugar. Okay? And again, I will talk about that in the calcium video. Too much sugar will raise your urinary calcium levels, and that's not good at all for stones. So I'm not an advocate for lemonade. Studies have been shown that Crystal Light raises your urinary citrate level very well, in a very nice fashion, adequately, as much as a pill the doctor may ask you to go on. Does Crystal Light have some stuff in it that's not natural? It does. So again, you have to pick what will work for you. You may decide, Jill, I know that Crystal Light raises my urinary citrate. I also know that it counts toward my daily fluid output, but it has preservatives in it, and I don't want to. If your citrate is that low, that the doctor's telling you to drink a lot of Crystal Light, then if you don't, this isn't a threat I'm just telling you, if you don't, your citrate is going to remain low, right? And it may remain too low where just some lemon in the water is not going to raise it enough. In that case, you have to take potassium citrate pills. They're very expensive, they're very large, and then you're putting that into your body. So you'll be putting that pill into your body, which will also buy you, by the way, a blood draw to check on your potassium levels. So again, our two buckets. Crystal Light, which may have some, some preservatives in it, or a potassium citrate pill that will definitely have side effects to it. And I don't think there's enough reason to say that Crystal Light is doing any harm to you. That's my opinion, okay? So again, you have to make your choices, and what works for you is what works for you. But I'm giving you the options, okay? So lemonade, you can drink. So you, of course, you can have a glass of lemonade. Fine. I don't want you to make a habit of that. It will count towards your daily urinary output, but there is a lot of sugar in it, okay? So it's really a lot of sugar. So check your lemonade. Make sure it's a lower sugar lemonade. Use some Crystal Light if you're trying to raise your citrate level because your doctor has asked you to do that. The only way you know you need to increase your citrate level is if you have done a 24-hour urine collection. There's a lot of people sucking on lemons and drinking Crystal Light and all this, and you don't even need to do that because your citrate level is fine. But you've seen on the internet that that's something generically you can do. Will it hurt you? No. But why spend money and why do all that if you don't need to? I've met with many patients that before they met with me, they said, the doctor told me to go on some Crystal Light. But I look at their urine collection and their citrate is wonderful. I'm like, you don't have to do that. So again, sometimes there's things you are doing that you don't have to do, and that there's things you're not doing and you do need to do, and the only way you'll know that is if you do a urine collection. Okay? All right. The Crystal Light too, if you need, if you just want something different from water once in a while, or you need to increase your citrate level, they do have on-the-go packets, which is great and new. So that's really easy and convenient for you. So you're not, going to the 7-Eleven trying to get Crystal Light. Okay, they have packets for you. Milk is a great way. You can have a glass of milk. Nobody in our country is taking in enough calcium. Again, we have a whole class dedicated to calcium. Nobody's getting enough calcium into their diet. It's a real problem. So why not drink a glass of milk if you can tolerate it? It counts to your total daily urinary output. Drink some milk. Wonderful. Use it. Happy. Good. You'll get 300 milligrams of calcium with a glass of milk. Wonderful. Soda. We're going to talk about soda. A lot of you have stopped drinking soda. Personally, that thrills me. You don't need to ever drink a soda. You don't ever need to drink a diet soda. But, there are studies, and the things that I'm telling you, there are studies that back this stuff up. So, there is a study that says, by drinking soda, a patient's increase of kidney stones was not significantly raised. So you're going, oh my God, I could drink soda. Oh my God, honey, get the Diet Coke. I'm not saying that, because what's going to happen now? The study said up to a certain amount. It doesn't mean you can drink soda all day long and that's going to decrease your risk for stones. The study just says that you can have a soda here and there and it's not going to increase your risk for stones. As a matter of fact, the study will say you will have a reduction in stone formation because, not because it's soda you're drinking, but because you're increasing the amount of fluids you're putting in your body. So if you just have a can, you're not going to be dehydrated from it. It's not going to cause, a really low pH because of the phosphoric acid. It's not going to cause significant anything if you just have a can. The problem in our country is we take these portion sizes and we just, if it's Diet Coke and it has no calories, then I can have 20 of them. Remember SnackWells? Remember them in the 80s, early 90s? Has no fat. So you know what? It has no fat. So that means instead of one cookie, I could have the whole row. Well, God, I could even have the whole pack. It's SnackWells. No fat. What happened? We all got fatter because there was more sugar put in those products, right? And there's no fat and sugar. But no fat didn't mean no calories. So we all got fat on the no-fat diet, okay? So when something like this study says it actually decreased stone risk up to whatever, 12%. There was a 12% reduction of stone risk. It's not because people then drank tons of it. It's because they had one, and along with all the water they were drinking, they produced even more urine because of the one little soda. I hope that makes sense. So, once in a while, again, I don't advocate you drink soda. I think it's not, look, there's 32 grams, I think, about 32 grams, 32, maybe 37. It's in the 30s grams of sugar for one Coke. If you're a woman, you shouldn't be having more than 25 grams of added sugar a day. If you're a man, it's 37.5 grams of sugar a day. Y'all are, if you're a woman, you're past it already, and if you're a man, you're at it. So I don't know. It may be that that's worth it to you to have all that added sugar. But honestly, guys, I mean, I just can't consciously tell you that, you should drink soda. I'm just saying that if you do, it's 4th of July. You want to have a soda? Cousin Bobby just brought a case of sodas out. You love Coke. You haven't had a Coke in forever. And you want to treat yourself? Have a Coke. Okay? Nobody can live without, because deprivation will always lead to temptation. Always. It's just a fact. So no one's going to do without. But it wouldn't be my choice, but it may be your choice. Okay? So have a can here and there. I wouldn't suggest having anything more than that. Okay? A can here or there. A can of diet soda here and there. I have many patients come to me. They have 10 cans a day. Am I going to tell them, look, Susie, you can't have 10 cans a day anymore. Susie's going to come through the computer or the telephone line and she's going to grab my neck. She's going to grab my neck. She's going to say, goodbye. So no, I'm not going to tell Susie that. I'm going to say, look, Susie, you're drinking 10 cans. I get it. You love Coke. Beautiful. But let's start Just like we were slowly increasing the fluids, let's slowly decrease those cans. And maybe each can that you normally would pick up, you pick something like this up. Because mentally, you're still going to get you're going to get bubbles, you're going to get a flavor. So it's not going to be like, Susie, take rid of one of the cans of Coke and then put a water. Susie's going to cry. Susie's going to say that's the most disgusting transition ever. So my job is to make your transitions easier, because it's not easy. So if you go from a can of Coke to they even have cola flavored of these, then maybe you want to do that. Is it perfect? Is it the can of Coke? No, it's not the can of Coke. I'm not pretending it is. But it's a lot better than going from a can of Coke, which is heaven on earth, to boring old water, right? So a slow transition to get rid of some of the bad habits, a slow transition to incorporate some of the new habits. Takes time. Some of you will say, Jill, I'll never have a Coke again. It's increasing my stone risk. I could have another lithotripsy. I could be balled up in a ball of pain. I'll never have a Coke again. 1% of you. 1% of you will never have a Coke again. Everybody else is going to need some hand holding and going to need a little help with that, and mentally going to have to get their mind around that, because there's no way that Coke tastes like water. It's a wah, 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 right? So you can do that transition. But for those of you who can do without, and it doesn't bother you, and it doesn't lead to more cravings, gorgeous. You get rid of it, done. For those of you who try to do without, but you feel really deprived, this. And from 10, the next week you go to 9, the next week you go to 8, and you do like that. I find typically within 3 weeks, no matter what we're trying to decrease, people are ready. People are ready. They're ready. They've already gotten a better perspective. Look, Jill, I was drinking 10 Cokes a day. Now I'm only having 4. And I noticed that, I have more energy. I'm not having sugar crashes. I totally don't even want the soda. Maybe I'll have one a couple times a week. But that's it. Okay? And that's how it usually happens. It's wonderful. You got to be motivated, dedicated, and you got to be disciplined and willful. You got to be all that. You just don't say, you got to be all that. It's all of it. It's all of it. It's a mindset. And again, this is why diets don't work. You've got to have a mindset. And you guys have a big thing, a big motivator: pain, medical conditions, medical problems, lithotripsies. I say this all the time to remind you why you're doing this. It's not because it's fun. It's because you don't want those stones back. And most of you have purchased this course because you do not want them. Why would you lay out your money? So don't lay out your money for no reason. Do these things. All right. If you're going to have a soda, and typically people, they're like smokers. You're either a menthol smoker or you're not. And for soda, you're either drinking the clear sodas or you're drinking the dark sodas. Ain't nobody mixing. It's either one or the other. So lots of times I'll tell people they're drinking 10 Cokes. I'll say maybe do one of those, a Sprite. Why? Because you'll cut down on the phosphoric acid, which will lower your urine pH, and also you'll get a little bit of citrate if you need that. So sometimes I say that, but you know what I'm always going to say, just use this. But if you can, if you're somebody who can go back and forth, maybe try some Sprites. Maybe instead of having your once in a fun treat Coke, you turn for a Sprite, okay? Just throwing it out there. So coffee. I know that a lot of people have stopped drinking coffee, and they're really finding that very difficult. And so here's the thing about coffee. Drinking coffee also led to a reduction in stones. Why? Because it added a normal cup of coffee added to their daily urinary output. So what's going on with coffee in our world? If you go to Starbucks or Timmy Two's or wherever you're going for your coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, cups of coffee, it's called a cup, people, not a beverage as big as my fluffy head. No. What has happened to a cup? It's ridiculous. No. A cup of coffee, like you're going to Denny's, like you're going to, like a 1952 cup of coffee, as big as my hand, cup of coffee, little cup of coffee. Not this cup of coffee. This is not a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee that can actually fit in your cup holder because it's a little cup. Boom. A cup of coffee. A cup, people. We are so addicted to coffee and caffeine. I love coffee. I have 1 cup. Sometimes I have 2 cups. That's it. Why? Because I'm old and I get jittery now. It used to be I would drink a pot of coffee a day. But then one of the good things about getting older is your body's like, forget you, girl. Don't be doing that anymore. I'm rebelling. And so I can only tolerate that much. But I love the taste of coffee. I love it. So sometimes instead of that 2nd cup, I'll have a decaf. When you drink too much coffee, all that caffeine is going to wind up dehydrating you, okay? And you're not restoring with fluids that your body can absorb. And so the coffee is dehydrating you. If you just have 1 cup, that's not going to be the case. So have a cup or 2 a day and keep it as that, okay? Do not go to Starbucks and say grande, double frappuccino, whatever the hell you're ordering. Don't do that. Please limit your coffee. It will it will decrease your stone risk because it's adding to your daily fluid volume, which is awesome. And so you can have it just within moderation. You're going to see the theme of this whole course is if you do these things within moderation, you can safely incorporate them. No one's asking you to go to monastery and never have good fun things anymore. No one's asking you to do that. Or perhaps they are. They don't have to though. You don't have to live like that. If you do this within moderation and you have discipline, you can safely incorporate the things that you love back into your diet. I promise, okay? Tea. I know that some of your lips haven't touched tea since 1972, your first stone. You can have tea. Here's the thing about tea. It's going to be the exact same thing about coffee. Have a normal sized cup of tea. Not a tall, not a grande. Have a normal sized cup of tea. And you will be able to have it. I want you to know that black tea does have a lot of oxalate, and that's why you've been asked not to drink it. So what can you do if you do want some black tea once in a while? Have it. Here's some tricks. The longer you steep your tea, which means the longer you keep that tea bag in that fluid, in that water, the stronger your tea is, the more oxalate will be in that tea. Okay? I would suggest you do herbal teas, oolong tea, green tea. They have less oxalate. Not every tea. So you're going to say, okay, Jill, what tea? What tea? What's the name? What's the brand? Look, not all teas have been studied. I will tell you this generically. Have a cup a day. Fine. If you just put the tea bag in there enough to get some flavor, you can have a couple glasses a day. The longer you steep it, the worse it is for oxalate. Okay? So green tea, look, I've had my green tea in my life. I don't like tea very much, really, overall. I get in the mood for it once in a while. I try to drink green tea or matcha tea when I do. It takes a while to get that taste. It's weird tasting, but it has a lot of other good properties in it. The New England Journal of Medicine did study green tea, which particular brand I don't know, but they did study it, and it did show that it had lower oxalate levels, and it also has a lot of other wonderful properties and supposedly very, very good for you in a lot of ways. So maybe you want to try green tea. Whatever the case is, within moderation, you can safely have tea into your life. Okay? Booze. Let's talk about booze. A lot of people don't drink, so this isn't for you. Those that do. Also drinking wine and beer. It led to a decrease in stone. Why? Because it added to their daily volume of fluids. So that means if you'd like a glass of wine, it's about 5 ounces. Not a glass of wine where you have a glass this big and you pour it to the top. Not saying that. It's like 5 ounces of wine. Safely adds to your diet. You can have that. Enjoy it. Can of beer, have a can of beer. Okay? You can have that daily if you want. It will not make your stones worse. It will add to your total urinary output. That is a can a day or 5 ounces of wine a day. There was a study that showed it actually had a reduction in kidney stone formation simply because there was nothing magical about booze. Nothing magical about booze. It was just that people were drinking it and they just drank the little bit that they did, and it added to their total urinary output without making them dehydrated. Okay? So there's that. So you can have a glass of wine, absolutely. Juice. The only thing that showed significantly lowered, not significantly, but gave a decrease in a 12% reduction in new stones was orange juice. It has some citrate in it, and it added to their total daily volume. I would implore you to get a lower sugar orange juice, and get one that's added with calcium, since none of us are getting enough calcium. So I think that's really important. There's other things. They did apple, grapefruit, tomato juices. They really didn't have any effect on stone formation. So what does that tell me? That tells me that you can surely add those things into your diet. I would suggest not having one of those products a day in a normal portion size. And do recognize that the tomato juice would have higher oxalate. So if you're on a low oxalate diet, you want to monitor that. And also juices in general, make sure that there's no added sugar to juices that already have sugar. I always go for a juice that has, I don't drink juice, but if I were to drink juice, I certainly would look for one that says no sugar added. That's very important, because too much sugar in our diets is also can increase stone risk. Okay. So, what did we learn today? We learned that there's many different things, there's many different ways to motivate yourself to get more fluids in. Whether it's rubber bands, whether it's sticky notes, whether it's water bottles, or it's apps, or whatever works for you, little alarms on your phone, whatever it is. There's different ways to motivate you. You've got to figure out what will work for you. That's how you do a lifestyle change. Now, you don't do what Susie did because she lost 20 pounds. Susie lost 20 pounds because that worked for her. The other thing to ask for you, is this going to work long term in any of these lifestyle changes? You can be this is how it goes. I'm being really good. Well, what does that mean? No, you want to feel really good with what you're doing. Okay? Because that's how we sustain change. And once you get a perspective, and once you start feeling better, it's going to make you even more motivated to keep up with the changes. But you got to do it. I'm not telling you to drink wine if you don't like wine. Okay? I'm not saying that's going to lower your kidney stone risk, and that's something you should do. I'm just saying that if you already enjoy wine and you've taken it back, you can safely increase it. So, you've got to do what will make you feel happy, what you can sustain. Why is everyone fat again after they've done Atkins? Because you can't not eat a piece of bread, okay? What happens? You don't eat bread for 6 months, you lose 200 pounds, you eat a bun the next day, and then you gain 210 pounds by next week. That's why diets don't work. You've got to figure this out for yourself. All the things I'm saying, take what you need, throw away the rest, okay? If some of the things I'm saying won't work for you, don't do them. There's plenty of ideas, though, I'm giving you that will work for you, okay? And here's the other thing. There's an accountability group. If you want more questions asked, join the accountability groups. That's a place where you can go to my website, JillHarrisCoaching.com, and go to the accountability page. You can go talk to other people, get in a forum about water. What are you doing, Pam? How are you getting your water in? Everyone exchanges ideas. Go to a live class. Go to a live office session. I have them live. You can talk to me. We can talk about more ideas or what's specifically going on with you that you're not getting in enough fluids. Okay? Maybe it has to do with salt. We'll talk about how to get rid of your salt. Join the accountability group. That is a place where you get community. You can see where other people are struggling. You'll laugh. You'll have a good time. You'll get some ideas. And you also get to go to office hours with me that are offered throughout the week. You just hop on a go-to webinar with me. You could see my face like you do now, and we can talk about what's going on. It's wonderful. So you can get the feedback, you can ask more questions, you can get personalized help. Join the accountability group. It will help you stay compliant. It will help get any of the questions that you have during this class answered, and you're going to have a good time. Do it. JillHarrisCoaching.com. Go to the accountability page and sign up for that. You're going to love it. I think it's less than $10 a week to do it. It's crazy. And it will help you keep you compliant throughout the long term so that you make sure the whole goal of doing this, no more stones for you. Or at the very minimum, you truly decrease your stone risk, okay? But 80% of stones can be taken away. 80% of stones can be, what am I trying to say, guys? 80% of stones can be prevented. How hard is that? Okay? So try the accountability groups. You're going to love them. You'll get your help. You'll get support. You'll get to ask me questions one-on-one during office hours. It's wonderful. I look forward to seeing you there. Take good care, guys. Bye-bye. Get the fluids in. Drink up. Take care.